Hey everybody, welcome to the Slick Tree Podcast. I'm your host, Colby Langford. The point of this show is to help improve ourselves as dogmen and to raise the quality of the dogs on the end of our lead. So let's settle in, turn the volume up, and let's see if we can't learn a trick or two together from our guests.
Yeah, I used to have this old dog named Midge, and man, she was a great squirrel dog. She was a good coon dog. She was a great squirrel dog, and I had been bragging on her, to a buddy of mine, and he called me up. He said, "Hey, look, man, I got a friend of mine. He's got a piece of property over on the river over there." He said, "Let's get together and take old Midge over there squirrel hunting." I've been talking her up. I said, well, "All right, yeah, let's go. I'd love to." So we go over there and probably cheat 10 times. Every time it was a den or a nest, You see a squirrel all day. Well, right at the very end of the day, she trees out there on the edge of the creek. Great big old nest. I mean, big as a beach ball. And I looked over there at my buddy. I said, "Man, you know that squirrel's up in that nest. I mean, you just know he's up there." Well, I didn't even have a gun. I'm just handling the dog. A matter of fact, the only person who took a gun was my buddy's buddy. We were just messing around. Well, he looks at that guy. He looks at me. He said, well, shoot up in there, man. Run it down. I said, well, I don't care what you do. This is y'all's place. I don't care what y'all do. Well, the guy shot up there and shot the nest and knocked the nest down. The biggest owl you ever seen in your life come out of that thing and flew down the river. And it got quiet, and everybody's looking around. And one guy says, well, I ain't never seen no owl dog before. That sucker sure is accurate.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and I said, man, dang, that's terrible, and I ain't never did that since that day. That ruined me, I said, dang almighty, I just knew it was a squirrel in that thing. That's terrible. But yeah, he was a good dog, man. I loved old Midge. I got her from a guy that lived right around the corner from me some years and years ago and had her till she was about 13 or 14 years old, and she died on me at old age, but she was my first squirrel dog. My first real good squirrel dog, not my first squirrel dog. But
What kind of dog was she?
She was a mountain terrier. She was a regional mountain terrier. Yeah, and if I could look at her papers right here, I'd tell you what she's out of. Her name on her papers was Barriers Midge. And she come from a guy named Rick Dennis, who had sold her to a guy that lived right around the corner from me. Actually, the way I even got her was I had went to high school with a guy, and I was trying to find a squirrel dog. And he said, man, I know where a squirrel dog's at. This guy such and such lives around the corner. He's got a good squirrel dog. He wants to sell her. His son's getting older or whatever, and he ain't got time to hunt her no more. And I had a few before that, but not anything that was worth anything. So I said, all right. So we rode over there, and the guy come out. I said, well, I guess I'm here to talk about a squirrel dog. He said, yeah, there she is right there. And he said, I want $400 for her. I said, well, all right, I guess that seems fair. He said, well, if you decide you don't like her, you know where she lives at. You just bring her right back here, And man, shoot, it was on from there. She was the best friend I ever had. And I had her, she was probably 7 or 8 then, and I probably had her 7 more years after that. And just took her everywhere I went. And she was a good one, man. You could let her out of the truck or whatever. She'd hang around your feet. And you could look down on her and say, all right, get missing. And she would just take off flying, down the road. And you could say, hey, Midge. And she'd stop and look back. And whichever way you pointed your hand, that's the way she would bail off in the woods. And if you wanted her to go left, you'd point that way. She could be as far as she could see you. It wouldn't matter how far she was. If she could see you, she'd go that way. And if you say, oh, wait, I changed my mind, she'd look up, you'd point the other way, and she'd go the other way. But she was just a good dog, man. She was probably maybe 35 pounds. She was real small, kind of narrow in the face, a lot different than the kind of dogs I got now. But she was a good one. Wish I still had her, but like I said, she got old on me.
Yeah, let me shut you down for just a second. Everybody, you are listening to the Slick Tree Podcast, and I'm your host, Colby Langford, and today we have got Stephen Vanhoose here with us. How you doing tonight, Stephen?
Pretty good, buddy. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. It's kind of nice, cool morning, and finally starting to get down. I think it's about 55 this morning. my kind of weather, but it did end up heating up a little bit later in the day. But it is getting to be that time of year. Wake up in the mornings, feels like killing weather.
Exactly right. Yep, yep. My old dog's got a little spring in his step in the morning time now, and starting to see some leaves in the yard every day more and more. So it's getting to be that time.
Yeah, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and that kind of stuff, Stephen?
I'm from central North Carolina, a little place called Castalia, which is kind of not really central. It's a little bit east of the central part of North Carolina. My family's from there, but I've lived between there and a little place called Hillsborough, North Carolina, just about all my life. Back and forth between my parents growing up, and I live and hunt pretty much all over North Carolina. Um, so yeah, little bitty town. Not many people ever heard of it before, but Castalia,
What
little bitty spot.
what's the terrain like where you're hunting?
It's pretty flat. It's just east of 95 highway, so it's pretty flat. I mean, there's some swamps here, but I could ride 40 minutes west of me and be in some pretty decent hills. And the further west you go, I mean, you could find some places that it's not necessarily the mountains, but it'll gut you. You don't want to be in there squirrel hunting long in some of those spots.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so we got a pretty good mix. I mean, we got a pretty good mix. We got some places, maybe like an hour and a half from me going west that is completely 100% different than everything around where I'm at. So in about an hour and a half's time, you could be in just about any kind of terrain you want to be in right here. So that makes it fun, all in what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. So what all kind of dogs you run?
Just original mountain curs. That's pretty much what I got now. I mean, I've had a tree and cur who was a really nice dog that I don't have anymore. Somebody else wanted him more than I did, but right now all I've got is original mountain curs. That's it. I think I'm gonna stick with that for a while. That's what I like.
You mostly just squirrel hunt them, or you coon hunt them a little bit too, or?
Yeah, I've got one that I squirrel hunt. And I coon hunt him just as much as I squirrel hunt him, but he's getting kind of old on me. And then I've got an up and coming dog coming up behind him. That's a little female dog. She's about to be 2 years old. She started turning on real good squirrel season last year. She was right at a year old when squirrel season was going out, and she was looking really, really nice. So I got high hopes for her this year. And then I got a little bitty puppy here. It's about 9 weeks old now, and he's off of my older dog and a buddy of mine's female dog. That's Thunder Sport bred. So that's about all I got right now. Just those three. But that's enough to keep you going, I guess. I mean, you need something coming up. You need something to work on if you're going to keep some dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least for me, I hate to be without one.
Yeah.
I mean, I just hate to be without one. I got to thinking, man, I hate if something happened to my old dog and then that's it. Like to at least have something off of him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. That's all I got right now. Matter of fact, the little puppy right now, he's pulling on my shoestrings, running around in the yard right here.
What do you like to do to start one? Tell me what your plan is for that pup. What do you like to do with them?
Really, right to start with, the first thing I like to do is get a good handle on him. He's not really much good to me if he don't listen. I can't take him too far away from the house if I can't make him listen to me when I turn him loose. So my first move is to get a good handle on one. That way I can trust them. If they listen, then they're safe. If they don't listen, then they're not safe. So I like to carry them to a city park. I can get in the car and ride 30 minutes or so and be at a city park early in the morning on a Friday morning or a Saturday morning before anybody gets out there and sit and watch squirrels and let the dog see a squirrel and run one up a tree and tree on it. And I like to do that. And then I've got a little place. My family's got a little farm out in Castell. And what I like to do is I got a bunch of feeders out there on a loop. It's a path that runs in a big, huge circle out there. And I'll just walk that puppy, from one spot to the next spot to the next spot. Once they get treeing good on those, then it's to the big woods, then we're rolling on with it, That's all I've ever really had to do. I don't really want to have to do much more than that, to be honest with you. I just don't got a whole lot of time in the world to be trying to convince a dog to tree a squirrel. He's either going to want to do it or it ain't going to want to do it. And that's just that, So,
Mm-hmm.
And I've had a lot of luck with that, to be honest with you. I mean, you just make a buddy out of them. You get a little puppy, you make a buddy out of it. It wants to please you. and then you just start saying, hey, look, this is what I want you to do. You're just pointing it in that direction, and if they got it in them, it's going to come out of them. I mean, in my experience, if they've got it in them at all, it's going to come out of them. And then just reinforce that, and then just start taking them more and more and more and wear out a pair of boots. Just wear out a pair of boots. I mean, honestly, I've had a lot of luck with training squirrel dogs because of the kind of work that I've done for so long, which was working at a hospital and operating room on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I was only working 3 days a week and hunting 4 days a week. So it's real easy to break a dog that's a few months old that really wants to tree a squirrel if you can take him to the woods 4 mornings a week, every week, all season long, in the spring, in the fall, and everything. So the more opportunities you can give one, the better chance you got, the better chance he's got.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's about all I can say. I mean, that's all I've ever, been able to do is just hunt them. If they got in them, it's going to come out, And I've been fortunate, I hadn't really had to give up on too many of them. I mean, I guess I've been hunting squirrel dogs for 20 years now, and I've only ever had to give up on maybe 1 or 2 that we just couldn't see eye to eye, It's just a few things that I'm just not going to put up with. And, if I feed you, I'm going to be able to put my hands on you when I call you,
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that. I can't deal with that. But that's what I like to do. I mean, I feel like it works pretty good.
Yeah, you mentioned you're on some beagles too.
Yeah, that's kind of how I got started in dogs. My stepdad was a hunter. Because my dad wasn't really a big time hunter, but my stepdad was a hunter, and he would always talk to me about running rabbit dogs and having rabbit dogs. And his dad, which was my granddad, he had some rabbit dogs, and I guess probably when I was 10 or 11 years old, we got a set of puppies from Grandpa and brought them home, and we lived on about 30 acres outside of town. And he told me, he said, when you get home from school, I want you to go out there to that dog pen and take those dogs out, and I want you to walk them down that path through that cut over to the pond. He said, they're going to jump, and wherever they jump, you stand right there, and they're going to bring whatever it is back, And I was, like I said, I was young. I was probably 10 or maybe 11. And that's kind of how I got going, was doing that, rabbit hunting all throughout the young years, high school, out of high school. And then right around that time is when I got into tree dogs. I got into coon dogs. I wanted to have a coon dog. I thought that was the thing to do. And I did that for a long time. And I had some nice coon dogs, or I thought they were nice. But started having kids. And when I started having kids, I said, man, I got to have something I can take my little boy with me. I want to take my little boy with me. He wants to go too. And it's hard to carry him coon hunting. And I would take him coon hunting on the weekends and stuff. And that was fun. But, man, you pick a young'un up from school. Like I said, I worked on the weekends. So I was the one to pick my little boy up from school every day. And you pick a young'un up from school 3 o'clock in the evening, and it's squirrel season, you want to go squirrel hunting, So that's kind of how that started. And that's what got me into squirrel dogs. And, yeah, that young'un, he's 16 now. So I guess I've been at it, about 16, 17 years, squirrel hunting. That's what I'm with.
Talk to me about the coon dogs you had.
I had a tree and walker dog off of Tequila Sunrise, and I can't remember who the mama was of that. His name was Chance, and he was a nice dog, man. I mean, I never really competition hunted much. I mean, I'd have here and there, but I really just don't care much about it. I mean, I just enjoy going out with my best buddies and treeing coons and treeing squirrels and just having a good time and not having the competition of it, But he was a really nice dog. I had some black and tan dogs. I had a few plot hounds way back. I just kind of went through everything, I guess like everybody does, you get one. It's just like anything, you get one, then you want 2, then you want 3, then you think, well, I got to have as many as I can feed. I mean, everybody goes through that, I think. And that's kind of how it was for a little bit. But I settled on those walker dogs, man. I just kind of had a thing for them. And that dog I had, Chance, he was out of Sunrise, and I can't remember what the female was.
Do quite a bit of deer hunting too, don't you?
Yeah, I do like to deer hunt. Like I said, my family's got a little farm right here, not too far from where I stay at, and I like to deer hunt out there. I've been deer hunting since I was a kid, since I was real small, I guess, like most people from around here. And like anything else, you go through phases. You know, you want to bow and arrow hunt, then you want to kill the biggest buck you can kill, and you want to, you know, do all that. And I'm just at the place now where I'm kind of like you, where I just kind of want to fill my freezer up, you know, and have good food to eat. But yeah, I love the deer hunt, man. I love the deer hunt. I shot a nice deer last year. I had honestly, man, deer season's in now in North Carolina, and I hadn't been after it like I ought to, just because it really just did get cold the last day or so, and work's been so wide open. And but yeah, man, I love it. I'm looking forward to black powder season coming in. We got a few more weeks, and then black powder's gonna come in, and hopefully I'll be a little bit more serious about it right now. But honestly, all the free time I got right now, I got this little young squirrel dog. I've been all the free time I've had, it's been taking her. You know, I get out to work and go to the house and go pick her up, and we'll hit the woods. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm trying my hardest. You know, I haven't really been into competition hunting. I haven't really cared anything about it. But I lost my brother last year unexpectedly, and he was a year older than me, and we had kind of wanted to get into doing stuff like that, and he had been pushing me to do more with my dogs and everything. And I told him I had a really nice dog, and when I was training that dog, he'd probably get, you know, 200 or 300 yards out, and I'd stop him. I'd make him come back, you know. And he said, look, he said, the next one you get, he said, don't do that. He said, just let the dog go and tree and however it's going to go. Don't reel it back in. Just see how, you know, we'll do. He's like, we'll get one right to go competition hunting with. Well, that's what I had on my mind when I got this little dog here. I said, that's what I'm going to do with her. I'm going to just, you know, let her go. I ain't going to try to reel her back in. However far she'll hunt, I'll let her go. Well, that's kind of what I've got my mindset geared towards. With this little dog here, I want to get her in shape and try to do a little competition hunting with her. So every day after work, I'll get her. We'll make 6 or 8 drops and see what she'll do. And she's been doing good, man. She's been doing really, really good. She scared me a couple weeks ago. I was going to take her hunting, let her out the pen. You know, she's got a pretty good handle on her, but if you take your eyes off of her, she's going to get missing, you know. And she was beside me going to the car, and I said, all right, hold on a minute here, lady. Let me clean you out a spot in the truck so you can get up in here. Well, I moved something out the seat and turned around. I said, dang, she's gone. What in the world? Well, I went to calling her. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm hollering for her, looking for her. Well, an hour or so goes by. I said, well, man, I done lost her. I don't know what in the world to do. I ain't got no collar on her or nothing. She's just gone. So I get in the car, I start riding around looking for her. I said, I don't know what to do. I put a post on Facebook, you know, took a picture. I said, hey, look, you know, if anybody sees this dog right here, call this number, you know, she's got out or whatever, and she's missing. Well, you know how Facebook works. Somebody knows somebody. Well, I get a call from a guy. He said, hey, man, where about you live at? He said, I work for the sheriff's department. He said, if I'll be around all day, you know, working. If I see her, you know, I'll call you. So I told him. And like I said, that's like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. Well, 5 o'clock that evening, he calls me. He said, hey, man, I got your dog. I said, all right, where you at? And he was probably a mile or so up the road from the house there. And I rode down there to get her. And as soon as I got there, pulled up in this little neighborhood, he's sitting out in the middle in the road with his blue lights on. And I get out thinking she's in the back of his squad car. He said, man, she was just right here in this guy's yard, treeing wide open in this tree. He said, I pulled up and saw her and was going to get out and put my hand on her. He said, she wouldn't let me catch her. She ran off in the woods right there. I said, dang. Well, we're sitting there talking for a second, and I hear tree again, you know, wide open, just as hard as she can go. I said, well, man, if you'll stand right here in this yard, I got to go get her. I'm going to see, can I go put my hands on her? He said, all right, well, I'll go with you. So he walked with me through these people's yard and stood in the backyard for me, and I eased off in the woods, maybe 100 yards or so, and she was in there treed on a big old dead oak tree in there. And I said, what you got, girl? You been squirrel hunting all day without me? And she's just as happy as she could be, you know. She don't even think she I was like, golly. I was like, come on now, let's get on up out of here. I put my hand on you and carry you out, you know. So that was a trip, you know. We got out of the woods, and he said, man, she was going for it, won't she? I said, yeah. I said, she thinks she's queen of the world right now. I said, I can't even be mad at her, you know. I was like, it's my own fault. I already know how she is. All she wants to do is go hunting. I got a big fenced-in yard in my backyard. I let her out in, and I keep my hunting truck parked out there, and it's on the edge of a field. And I know mice get in it and mess around and do all that. And if she's not laid up in her kennel, if I don't keep her locked up, I just let her run around in that yard out there, you'll find her hunting mice just as hard as she can go. I mean, if she can't be hunting a squirrel or trying to catch a squirrel, she's after anything she could be after. Lizard, frog, whatever. I mean, she's just as wide open as she can be. So I got high hopes for her.
Sounds like she's gonna be a good one.
I hope so, man. I really do. She's cost me enough air conditioning work, to be honest with you. I left this crawl space door up, and she went up underneath there and tore the trunk line down. I thought I was going to have all I could take then. I said, good Lord, dog, if I didn't love you, you'd have to get away from here.
You know, about the story with the cop, I was kept waiting to hear, did she have the squirrel?
Man, I'm going to be honest with you. I was so ate up with Briars getting in there to her. And so look, where I was at, he told me, he said, man, I'm kind of worried that one of these bulldogs is going to jump on her because I live way out in the middle of nowhere, but it's kind of crazy. There's a trailer park right around the corner. It's like a mile or so. And on this trailer park road where all these like 15 or 20 trailers are, every one of them's got 3 pit bulldogs, and not a one of them's put up. They're just all running around, all up and down this road. And he said, man, I'm kind of worried that one of these dogs is going to jump on your dog. And I said, yeah, I'm kind of worried about that too. So when I get to her, I'm going to just put my hands on her and I'm coming up out of here with her. And he said, yeah, that's probably a good idea. Because like I said, he had his squad car was just pulled crossways in the road with the blue lights on. You know, he saw her and he pulled up on her, you know, Dukes of Hazzard, I guess. I don't know what it looked like. But yeah, it was intense, I guess, for me at least that day. I was sick, man, when that dog got missing and I couldn't get her back. I was just as sick as I could be. That's a terrible feeling.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is a terrible feeling.
Well, you got any other good squirrel hunting stories for us?
Man, I guess I'm like anybody else. You know, you think you got a bunch, and then somebody asks you, you say, man, dang, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I guess, you know, that, about like anybody else, you know. I mean,
well, let's talk about some training stuff. Like you mentioned, you mentioned kind of how you like to start them, but what are you a tie the dog at the tree when they're young every time kind of person, or what's your philosophy on that? Once you get them started and they're treeing squirrels, what are some things that you like to look for and you like to try to do with them while you're hunting them?
So number one, they gotta want to. Okay, that's any dog. They gotta have that drive and they gotta have that want to. If they don't want to, I can't make them want to. You know. So if they want that squirrel bad enough, they're gonna stay right there and they're gonna tree. If I got to encourage them too much to stay there, there's a problem anyway. At least that's the way I look at it. You know, I like to let them tree however makes them comfortable. I mean, I don't like a whole bunch of jumping up and down at the tree and acting wild or none of that. And I'll leash a dog for that. But honestly, by the time I get a dog doing anything like that, I've already got such a good handle on them. Like my little dog lady here, if she gets to acting wild at the tree, I say, hey, don't do that. You know, and she'll kind of chill out a little bit and go back to treeing like she ought to or whatever. But she doesn't really have a huge problem with that. The dog that I had before her, which was Roach, which was a super nice squirrel dog and coon dog, but an even better squirrel dog. That dog loved me so good. If he thought that I didn't like something he was doing, he would just be all over himself to fix it. You know, he'd get in there and put both feet up on the tree and just go as hard as he can go. And if he ever acted like he was going to get off the tree, I could just look over my shoulder at him and say, don't do that. And he would just go right back to treeing again. But I feel like I have those results with these dogs and I'm hunting because I'm hand picking them and raising them, taking them off the tit at 6 weeks old, bringing them in the house, raising them up with my family, making them a member of my family, making a pet out of them first, you know, because they're smart. They're super, super smart. And all they really got to have is a want to go, because I can't make a want to go. You know, as long as they want to go when I turn them loose and they have that drive on them, they're plenty smart enough that you can work with the rest. You know, So that's me. Time one up at the tree, I will if I got to. I really don't want to have to. You know, like I said, I haven't really competition hunted any of them. All these dogs that I got, I can cast them like a coon dog, sit at the truck and let them go. I could walk hunt them. I could road hunt them. if they can hear me and they're at the tree, I can say, hey, enough. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. That's it. I ain't really got to get down on them. And I like them like that. I like to be able to just walk into the tree and shoot the squirrel or not, or shoot the coon or not, and say, all right, then come on, let's go get another one. Or come on, let's go. And that's it. So, but to me, like I said, with putting so much time in it and hunting and wearing boots out and just being in the woods, those 4 days you're off work, and then every night of the week coon hunting, and when you're at the house in the backyard working on sit, stay, come here, playing fetch, it just comes to me. It's just so easy. It's just one thing feeds right into the next thing, into the next thing. It's like, I got 3 kids, and I'm in the grocery store, and my little girl's sitting in the cart, and they're all just well behaved. And I meet this couple, and they're coming, and they got one little kid, but damn, who's a little younger than the kids I got. And the guy looks at me and he said, hey, man, you want to trade? I said, no, I just got these like I like them. And he said, man, how long does it take to get them like that? And I said, the whole time. That's how long it takes to get them like that, the whole time. Same thing with a dog. It takes the whole time. You can't just put a little bit of time into it. You have to make it your lifestyle. If you really want to get everything that they got in them out of them, you got to really put a lot of time into it, or you didn't give them the best shot, and then you ain't got nobody to blame but yourself when it don't work out.
Mm-hmm.
You still been making them fishing rods?
I have been. Well, I've kind of slacked off on a little bit lately. I got a couple flower rods that got a pair of flower rods that I just got parts in for the other day. But no, I've kind of slowed back on that. I've been pretty busy with my storm shelter business, and
Right.
And then we're actually building a cabin on our property right now.
Yeah, I think I seen something like that on Facebook. You're the most useful tool.
Yeah, according to my wife. According to my wife, yeah.
That's right. That's right.
But no, I got the cabin framed up in concrete. It's a slab building, but my trusses.
You ain't bow fishing anymore or anything, are you?
No, I haven't had a chance to just a whole lot lately. I've been bow fishing a couple times last month or two, but getting ready to go down to Louisiana and try to find a gator gar here in a couple weeks. Pretty excited about that. I've never been down there. I think I'm probably gonna take a squirrel dog with me, see if I can find a black squirrel on there too.
Man, that's one thing we got over here in North Carolina is some black squirrel, fox squirrels. When all those years ago, when I first started squirrel hunting, there's this place down here called the Sand Hills, and my buddies, I had a couple buddies. I said, man, you got to go down here to this Sand Hills place. They got all these fox squirrels down there. I said, all right, well, I'll go. And when I started going down there, it seemed like everybody that was hunting down there for squirrels was still hunting for them. You see all these older guys, everybody be pulled over on the side of these sand paths, and they'd be sitting in a chair, leaned up against a pine tree, and they're all still hunting. And remember, we talked to one guy, and he was talking about these black squirrels. He said, man, I've been hunting down here all these years. I ain't never seen but one black squirrel. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, shoot, you ought to be going with us because old boy's dog right there just showed us like 6 black squirrels today. And like I said, that was like almost 20 years ago. And I've been going down there every year. And I see a bunch of them, all the time. I love it. We got a bunch of different color fox squirrels here in North Carolina, all the different color phases. Gold and black with the silver back, and black with the gold back, and solid black, red and tricolored, and all different calico, different colored fox squirrels. So that's what I'm into, man. That's what I like is fox squirrel hunting.
What are them fox squirrels? How do they act? Are they kind of like, which we call them fox squirrels here, but our red squirrels? They're pretty tame compared to the little grays we've got.
So these fox squirrels down here, this is what I tell everybody. And if you want to look at this, what I'm talking about, I got a YouTube channel. You can look on the YouTube channel of all these fox squirrel hunts that I've videoed with my GoPro with my buddies and all that. When you get ready to go in there to where this dog is treated at, whether it be 100 yards or 80 yards or however far it is, and you're down here fox squirrel hunting, you need to already have your mess together. Everybody's looking up. We're not gonna walk in there in a straight line. We're all gonna get shoulder to shoulder and kind of fan out. We're all looking up because when this fox squirrel leaves this tree, buddy, he ain't checking up till he gets to the house. I mean, he's getting up out of there, And I have seen these squirrels jump out of these huge pine tree. I mean, the pine tree could be 100 foot in the air, and this squirrel bail out of it and hit the ground and never checks up and run out of sight and run 300-400 yards before he ever trees again. And it's the same squirrel because he said, well, And there's that black squirrel with the red back and the white nose. And when they tree again, that's the same squirrel they got, over again.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really stay put and just hang out there and let you shoot them. I've seen it. I've had some dogs like put some pressure on them and they get stuck in a little small, pin oak or whatever, them little scrub oaks they got down there or whatever. And the squirrel is stuck there and he can't do much because he got the pressure on him. But if they got a chance, they're checking out. They're not going to hang around because, like I said, a lot of people know about that place and everybody hunts down there. It's got plentiful fox squirrels, but they've just been pressured.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's just how all fox squirrels are in North Carolina to me, because I hunt a lot of private land too in the east. It's got fox squirrels on them, and that's just how they are.
Are they very flighty? Will they just bail off even before you get into them a lot?
They're bailing off. They're bailing. They're not going to just hang out. You're lucky as you can be. If you can get there and you can say you've been looking for 5 minutes and you look and go, oh, there it is. Where? Oh, it's right there. It's a fox squirrel. He's been sitting right there this whole time. Seems like to me that don't happen.
Yeah.
You get in there and you get to making much movement, beating bang around. They're checking out. And the gray squirrels, depending on where you are around here, they're kind of like that too. You can hunt some places where they haven't been pressured very much, or you can just go in there and flat wear them out. And then it seems like when the leaves really, really, really get off the trees and it gets bare, and squirrel season's kind of coming to an end. December, beginning of January, they're not gonna hang out. Once you tree them, you get in there. Once you see him, you better go and kill him, or he's gonna get away from there. But yeah, that's kind of how it is.
How's somebody find your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is just my last name. It's Hoose, Hoose. That's it. You just get on YouTube and type in Hoose, or if you type in hunting with original mountain cur dogs or squirrel dog training, there's all kind of stuff up there like that. But if you type in any of those searches, you'll see that channel Hoose come up, and it'll have all my videos up there: squirrel hunting, coon hunting, rabbit hunting. Got a lot of videos in there of my old dog Midge that we were talking about, and my dog RD that I got now. He's my older dog now. He was a younger dog in some of them other videos, and now he's 9 or 10 now. I believe he's 10. But he's off Twin Pines Flame and Twin Pines Elmer. He's my buddy, man. He's my go-to. That's my steady dog right there. I could squirrel hunt him all day and leave him in the dog box and go in the house and eat supper and come back out and coon hunt him all night. And it's like he just knows, And I've been doing him like that ever since I've had him, since he was probably 2 years old. Just had a great time with him.
Yeah. I never knew you had a YouTube channel. I have to look you up.
Yeah, man, check it out. Yeah, I haven't put anything on there in probably about a year or so. I've just been busy, man, with work and kids and everything going on. This little female dog I got now, I think the last few videos I put up there was when she was a few months old. And I've got some videos that I've got on my computer that I need to put up there, more recent, videos of her hunting and training and all that. And this little puppy I got now, I'm planning on documenting him from start to finish. The last series of videos I did up there was the last dog I trained, which his name was Tar River Roach. And I've got, from the day I picked him up from the kennel till, he was treeing coons, squirrels, whatever you want to do with him. He'd stay in the house, lay on the couch. I could pull YouTube up on the TV, and he'd sit out there in the middle of the floor and just sit in the sit position with his back turned to you, just looking at the TV on the wall, looking at himself squirrel hunting, coon hunting. And if he see himself treeing, he'd get up and get all happy and go to barking and looking back at you like, look, there I am on TV right there. Look. Yeah, he was a good dog, man. He was great.
Sounds like it. You been doing much fishing?
I haven't been doing much fishing. I did a little bit of brim fishing this spring, and I caught a few shell crackers. But I'm trying to get my boat straightened out. I got to get the graph and everything worked out on it and get my poles all straightened out. I put it up, and when I got it broke back out again, I didn't put it up right. So I got to get everything back organized again. But I like to troll for those crappies, man. That's what I like to do. I love to troll for crappie. Yeah. Oh, heck yeah. I got a good buddy. He
Are,
got me into that.
are you like spider rigging, slow trolling for them, or how are you doing
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Right, 8 rods at a time. Right off the back of the boat, running like a mile an hour, mile and a half. Um, just cruising over brush piles, all over the lake. Ain't no telling what you might get into doing that. It's fun. And me, it's like we're shoulder to shoulder. You got 4 rods, you're fishing. I got 4 rods, I'm fishing. They all might go off at the same time. I'm handing you rods, you're handing me rods. It's just a lot of excitement.
Sounds like fun and a good way to make a mess.
It is a great way to make a mess, and it is fun. I got a good buddy of mine that he got me into it. It was kind of his thing. I had never heard of it, but he retired. Um, and he was sitting around the house, and he's one of my old hunting buddies, and he said, man, I'm gonna fix up a boat to go trolling with. I'm gonna get into trolling. I said, man, I ain't never heard of that. Shoot, I started doing that with him. It was like the best thing in the world. I mean, I don't know. It's almost like I don't want to fish for crappie any other way. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I've done a lot of trolling for white basses. This river I live right next to, which we usually only troll 4 rods. Every once in a while 5 rods, but
Right.
we're trolling kind of long lines with crankbaits. And
Right. Well, we throw crankbait sometimes too, but crappie jig kind of is the way.
yeah, them crankbaits, man, you get a bill that's fouled and swimming off a little bit, man, you can have a mess if you're not paying attention.
Oh, exactly. Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I love it, man. There's a lot of strategy to it that a lot of people don't realize. It's like you don't really know what they're biting. You're fishing 8 rods and you got a different jig on every one, and you're trying to narrow down depth and color and speed, and all kinds of things. And then you're going to try to change all your rods to whatever's hitting. It's fun. It's a lot of fun trying to get that big fish.
Mm-hmm.
I like to eat them too. I ain't gonna lie.
You like
That's
what?
I like to eat them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't really care about catching a big one and putting it back. I want to eat them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me right there. Just like squirrels, I want to eat them. I don't care much about letting them go. And you see, if you look at that YouTube channel, I'm the one recording. Okay, this is kind of the reason why I fell off the YouTube, because I got these young dogs and I got to start killing to them. Well, every time I was taking videos, YouTubing, I've got all my buddies and they shooting and I'm videoing. So in all these videos, you hear me hollering, "Give me the gun, give me the gun," because they're all blowing the tops out of the trees, squirrel getting away, squirrel bailing out. I'm like, come on, man, jeez. We hunt the dog all this time and you can't even shoot the squirrel.
Hey, hitting a flighty squirrel ain't nothing to laugh at, even with the 12 gauge. I mean, I've seen some experienced good wing shooters just get flat schooled on a squirrel.
Let me tell you something, man. Look, we used to do this thing. Whoever misses, you got to wear a clown nose. Okay, so we got a bunch of clowns. We all down in there in the woods, and it's 4 or 5 of us. And you ought to see the game warden's face with 5 old boys come walking up out the woods, and every one of them got a clown nose on. Yeah, it's some good times, man.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, well, shoot, man, I don't even know if you really remember this or not, if you know, but how I ended up even knowing who you were or being friends with you was a long time ago. Well, I seen you on Snapchat, had this bow fishing boat. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, which I don't know how you'd have found me on Snapchat with it.
I don't know either. But you used to say, I was working on a boat for a buddy of mine, and I found you on there some kind of way. Had this bow fishing boat. I don't know if you remember this or not, but you sent me all kind of pictures of how your controls were. Do you remember that? You were sending me all those pictures and videos of how your trolling motor controls were on a stick.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, that's all right there. I ain't never seen that before, and I thought that was pretty good. And then not too long after that, you had built a squirrel tube or something, and you had sent me a bunch of videos of how your squirrel tube was built up, because I was breaking the dog, and I was like, man, I got to build something, which I ended up not doing exactly like how yours was. I built some wooden feeders with a tube off one of them and all that, but that's been a long time ago, man. I mean, that's been a real long time ago.
Yeah, I haven't even had Snapchat in quite a while, but yeah, I knew I'd known you from there, but I was trying to think about that. I couldn't remember how we got hooked up on there. I don't know if we'd met got to be friends somehow. I don't know.
I don't either. I really don't either. But I really think it was over that bow fishing, because I had a buddy of mine that was into bow fishing. And like I said, I don't got Snapchat either. I mean, it's been a long time. But back then, I feel like everybody had it. and or it might have been Instagram or something. I don't know, but I was into looking at them boats, and I just saw that boat you had all. I think it had neon green lights all over it or something, or
Yeah, I
blue
had
or
I had, I
something.
had neon green light bars on it.
Yep. And I
Yeah.
was like, sure, buddy. I said, man, this is what you need to do to your boat fishing boat right here. What this old guy's did to his, that'd be fun right there.
Oh man, I used to be just plumb ate up with that bow fishing, which that was
Yeah,
I joke about it with my wife because it's not too much of a joke. The whole reason she started dating me when we first met each other was because I had a boat, and that was about all I did. And she jumped in with the boat. She likes fishing, bow fishing too, and that was about all
no
they
doubt,
wrote.
no doubt. Well, it worked out.
Yeah, I just the boat I've got now. I just built a deck for it this spring, and and set it up with nice lights. One thing I've really noticed about that bow fishing boat, I've got a Garmin trolling motor on it, and it's brushless, and
Right,
they're super quiet, and I think that's the biggest improvement I've ever done to a boat. Like lights, elevated deck, everything I've ever shot on a boat. The best thing I've ever done is put a good trolling motor, a high end trolling motor on it that the fish can't hear. Uh,
right,
Before that, you couldn't run just like a little 45-pound thrustman coder or something. You can't hardly sneak up on them 4.5 foot long nose gar. They'll hear you and they
right,
just they just sink, and we're not shooting in real clear water most of the time, and you just can't get up on them. And
right.
but now with some decent lights and a quiet trolling motor, that or if you're shooting during the day, man, you can slide right up on them with that good trolling motor.
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, I liked it, man. I went a few times, but it's hard to do everything.
It
You know,
is.
it's hard to do everything. I wish I could do everything, and I didn't have to be a big boy and go to work and pay the light bill and all that. But uh, when it all was said and done, I said, well, if I got to have one thing, I guess I could feed one dog and squirrel hunt them and coon hunt them, you know, and that'll be my compromise. And that's kind of how I settled on curs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I'll ever go back, man. I think that's kind of what it is, you know. But I really, really, really think a lot of these dogs, man, if you just get a good dog off a good breeding or some good bloodline and you give it a chance and put some time into it, uh, anybody has a chance of having one of them superstar kind of dogs that everybody knows about that's all over Facebook. A lot of them behind the barn dogs are like that too. You know, it's just whoever puts the most time into them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This old yellow cur dog I got laying down right here next to me in the yard, man. Shoot, I've coon hunted him against some walker dogs that the boys were taking to town and winning all kind of money with, and he was making them look foolish. You know, you go out there and he's treeing all in front of them and treeing coons they're running past and everything else, and uh, you know, it ain't all about the competition, I guess, or whatever's all over social media. There's a lot of good ones out there, and a lot
Mm-hmm.
of guys got a lot of good ones. I mean, I've been with a lot of guys who've had a lot of good ones. I don't know.
I like the pleasure hunting, but at the same time, if I enjoy the competition hunts enough that if I'm gonna have one, I just as soon it do be trained in a manner to where it's ready to go to a hunt and
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 I,
play
and you
and
know
play
what?
by the rules.
I'm coming to that realization. You know, like I was telling you earlier, I'm kind of I'm feeling that. You know, for so long I was just like, I don't care. I don't need to be a part of the club. I just want to have a good dog that suits me, and that has suited me for a very long time. But I think it's a human nature that at some point there's something inside of you that goes, well, don't you want to see how good? You know, don't you want to go and see against its peers how good it is? You know,
Mm-hmm.
where it stands. Um, and like you said, it's like anything else. It's like basketball or chess. It's got a rules. It's got rules to it. You know, and if you can learn those rules and play by them, then you can have just as much fun as anything else.
Yeah,
So
and you can
I'm interested in getting into that some this year. You know,
yeah you can train one to play by the rules, and it doesn't make them any worse of a pleasure dog.
oh,
Like it it,
oh
it,
yeah,
it doesn't negatively affect, but you can take the same dog and not train it to play by the rules, and
right,
it's going to tree the same number of squirrels for you when you're pleasure hunting it. But at the same time, it it'll minus itself out of a competition hunt just making
Right.
little mistakes doing stuff.
Right.
And man, there's a ton of good guys. Like the vast majority of people I've met going to the squirrel comps, they've been great. Like
Well,
end up being
everybody that
good
I've met.
friends and talk to on the phone all
Yep.
the time.
Yep. Every single person that I've met, man, through Squirrel Dogs has been a great person, and I've made great friends with Squirrel Dogs. Uh, um, yeah, I could not agree more. I have met some great people around Squirrel Dogs and and had a lot of good times, man. For real, really have. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I don't stay too far from a few. Right where I stay at in North Carolina, there's 2 different squirrel hunting clubs that I can be at within an hour or so. And they put on, those USDC or whatever. They've always UKC. They're always putting on squirrel hunts and coon hunts and stuff like that. And I was going to try to get into it a little bit. That's my plan at least. That's my
Mm-hmm.
plan at least.
Yep. Read up on them rules and study them.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Well, you got any other good stories for us?
Oh, shoot, man. Not that I can think of, not off the top of my head.
Oh, I know you
Of course,
got them.
as soon as we hang up, man, I'm telling you right now, I'll think of 100 of them. I mean, I've had a bunch of funny stuff happen. I'm one of these people that if you get to know me or hang around me much, the first thing you're gonna learn about me is we're gonna laugh, buddy. That's what we're gonna do. If we don't do nothing else, we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna laugh.
Yeah.
Because if I can't do that, we might as well go home. That's what I'm doing it for, is to enjoy myself and live a good life. Uh, uh, 7 or 8 years ago, I think it's been 8 years ago or so now, I got hit by a drunk driver on my way to go pick up a squirrel dog. I had got my little boy from school, and we went to the house and swapped cars and got an old hunting truck and bebopped up the road towards Virginia to pick a squirrel dog up. And a drunk driver across the center line hit us head on doing 55 miles an hour, almost killed us both. We had to take a helicopter ride. I was in a coma for a little while, and my little boy broke his leg and, hurt his spleen, and he was all right and everything. And I was too, but I'm probably the only person that that ever had a squirrel dog in the ICU. When I woke up, I'm telling you, and I got a picture to prove it. When I woke up, after however many days or whatever it was, I was out, my jaws wired shut and my legs broke and all kinds of, I was messed up bad. First thing I want to know was what happened, and was my little boy all right? And then they told me, yeah, he was good. The next thing I said was, well, who's going to feed my dogs? I got to get and I'm writing all this on a dry erase board, and it's January, just snowed, and I'm all tore up about somebody's got to go get my dog now, my squirrel dog. She's outside in the pen. She's going to freeze to death, and I was all tore up about it. Well, they arranged some kind of way to go to my house and get that dog and bring her up there so I could see her, bring her to the hospital in the ICU. And I got a picture of that dog sitting on my lap, and I'm black and blue, my head's big as a pumpkin, and she's stacked up right there on my lap, and I got that little dry erase board right there, and it says, I told that doctor lady I just need to tree my dog.
That sounds like a good hospital.
Yeah, it was a good hospital, man. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, that's the hospital I worked at. I was working there. I called out of work sick that day to go fishing with a buddy of mine, truth be told. And I worked in the operating room, and I wound up right back at work again in the operating room as a patient that same day. Yep. So that's a squirrel dog story for you.
Yeah.
This old dog I got here, man, shoot, he's always doing little silly stuff. Like the other day I put on Facebook, I went to McDonald's. I got myself a number 2. I done gave the dog to Hash Brown because I felt bad for him. He's riding the passenger seat over there. I can carry him everywhere. He's my buddy. Man, I got out of the truck to go do something. I come back. He done wrestled my bag open, ate my McMuffin, ate the whole thing. I said, dang. Well, look, you can't put nothing down around him. I had some guys, they called me up or got me on Facebook or whatever, said, look, my family's got a big farm and deer season's out, and we got all these corn piles. Bring that dang squirrel dog you got down here and let's go squirrel hunting. I said, all right. He said, well, look, this place, he said, it looks like a flat field, but when you get to the field edge, it drops off about 60, 70 foot down to the river bottom over there on Roanoke River. He said, it's up and down and up and down. He said, we got some gators and all, we can ride around it. And I'm thinking, whatever, Well, we're riding over there, and my girlfriend done got me drinking these Frappuccino, ice, whatever, little girly drinks. I done got hooked on them, this is last year. Well, I'd have made about a 32-ounce one. You know, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to go meet these guys. I done woke the dog up. I went there and poured me one of these cold brews. Well, I set the drink in the cup holder and turn around and come back. This dog done drank the whole 32 ounces of coffee from the top to the bottom. I said, oh, man, this ain't no good right here. You going to be sure enough ready. Well, maybe about 30 minutes later, and you can't make this up. I looked over at him. He looked over at me. He looked like Rodney Dangerfield, man. His eyes was bugged out of his head, about to his nose out there. I said, God dang, this ain't gonna be no good. Look, that was the best squirrel hunt we ever had. That dog hit the edge of that field. He was down to the bottom. He was up at the top. He was down to the bottom. He was up at the top. And he was treeing after tree. The first tree he went to had 4 squirrels in it. Well, look, the guys, they had all their kids with them, and none of the adults had guns. You should have seen them little 13, 12-year-old boys down there pumping them 20-gauge shotguns, shooting and missing. It was the greatest time ever, you know. But, yeah, my dog was all jacked up. And every time I see them little boys after that, take them squirrel hunting, I say, did you give him some coffee this morning? I said, yeah, I let him get a little coffee this morning before I brought him out here. Yeah. He's a ham, man. You put a beer can down, he'll go over there and grab the beer can and turn it up and start drinking the beer out of it. Like, man, what in the world? What in the world? But, yeah, he's a good dog, man. He's a good dog. He's curious. You know, like a lot of people say about how cur dogs are real curious. He's my best buddy. He stay in the house, and I don't mind telling you, he'll skin you up. I mean, he'll just bite. I mean, he's kind of funny at it. He's fine with dogs. I could hunt him with 100 different dogs, males, females, whatever, and have. And if me and you and 5 other people are going to go coon hunting tonight, he's good with that. We all going to leave the truck together and everything's all right. If number 6 person walks up in the woods, he ain't going for that. He's going to get off the tree and run whoever it is off from there, or he's going to act real weird. He's not going to go for it. And that's squirrel hunting or anything too. Whoever's in the party and leaves the truck at the same time, he's like, all right, I'm good with this. I know all y'all were all good. And I got a video of that on my YouTube channel. I'm on the phone with a guy. Where y'all at? So we down here in the bottom. He said, I hear your dog. I said, well, bring some shells down here when you come, but don't let that dog get you. Let me catch him first. And I'm videoing the whole thing. The guy comes walking down through the woods. The dog's treeing. He gets off the tree and goes at him. You know, wah, 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 wah. And I say, hey, man, leave him alone. It's good. Everything's good. He's just real funny. Real funny. He follows me around like a shadow. If I go work on the car and sit down, he'll lay down right behind me. If you try to walk up on me, he'd be up like a Doberman, just wearing you out. I'm like, well, and you know what, man? If people like what they like, it don't bother me. It don't, you know. That's what I wanted. When I got into cur dogs, I was like, I want that dog that lays on my porch out in the middle of nowhere. And when I walk in the house and come home from work, he's laying right there. And when I walk out the back door with the shotgun, he follows me. And if anybody pulls up while I'm gone, he don't let him out the car. That's what I like. You know, and that's kind of what I got. I mean, that's kind of what I got.
Yeah. What's your squirrel gun of choice?
Man, I like to shoot a youth model 20 gauge Charles Daly because it's the lightest gun you can carry and it's small. And if you're going to walk like I'm walking, after some of these dogs, you don't want to be carrying that great big old thing. If we're going to go together, we're going to have one man's going to have a 22 and the other man's going to have a shotgun, but we both going to have binoculars. That's how I roll, you know. And it just seems like to me that's the best chance you got. Everybody goes, and I've took a lot of people squirrel hunting. Oh, I can see you. I don't need that. And we get in the woods and I'm going, there's squirrel. How you see him? Because I got these diamondbacks. That's how I see him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you trying to look at him with your naked eye, and I'm seeing the ear or a little bitty piece of fur on the tail. He can't hide that tail when the wind blows, and he's going to the tippy top most of the time if he don't hit that first crotch, you know. I mean, it's just the more you do it, the more you kind of, and you know, you squirrel hunt, you feel it, man. You walk into a spot, you start looking around, you see where the dog's treed, you're like, yeah, that squirrel's about right there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of like get back for it, you know, looking for him. But yeah, I like a small gun. I like a youth model, 20 gauge. Last year, I hunted with a Browning Buckmark 22 pistol because I just got it on my mind. I said, man, I want to shoot a squirrel with a pistol. And I did that, and I carried the shotgun too. I shot one squirrel with the pistol and put it up and went back to shotgun hunting. I think that's funner.
Yeah.
I think that's more fun because, man, I don't know how you are. My nerves get tore up, man. When my dog, I mean, I'm just like a youngin'. I mean, I'm 38 years old, man. When my dog trees in there, I'm like a kid. It's like I feel like I got to run in there, and I want to be the one to see him, and I don't want it to get away. And, you know, my nerves got up. I'm just got this pistol, and I'm like, all right, y'all ready? Because I'm going to shoot, and I'm probably going to miss. And we can't let him get away, you know. So it's just a lot easier going to take the 20 gauge in there and make sure you get them.
Yeah.
If you can. I mean, he's still got a good chance.
Oh yeah, that ain't no
seen him
kidding.
get away, buddy. I've seen him get away, buddy. Look, I tell people all the time, you riding down the road. Oh, big old black squirrel across the road. I said, you might as well keep on riding, Jack. You might as well keep on riding. I've been doing this a long time. Very, very, very rarely have I dumped on a squirrel that's crossed the road on me like that and done any good. And I don't know why that is, but I've always found it better. Oh, he crossed right there. Why don't you just ride on down about 100 yards or so and then turn around and come back and pull off, and don't turn out right on top of that spot. Turn out up from that spot. Figure out which way the wind is blowing and let the dog work into it instead of trying to put them right dead on top of it, So it's just little things like that. I mean, it's fun. I mean, trying to figure out. To me, me and my dog are like a partnership. I don't want to guard hold him. I don't want to take him to the Walmart parking lot and turn him loose and see what happens. We can, and he will go far, but I would rather say, I about know where a coon lives at, and I ain't got all night. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get him probably as close as I think I can get him, and then I'm going to just turn him loose. And I do the same thing squirrel hunting, because I ain't got forever. I'm after a certain thing, which is take somebody who's never been, or, take a young dog, or take one of my kids. I got a reason why I'm there, and I ain't trying to take all day doing it. I'm trying to go on and get it off my back. You know what I'm saying? So we can have a good time, So you start looking for, well, there always seems like they're in these fingers, or they're where the pine savanna rolls down into the creek, and all those scrub oaks comes out into a point. They love to hang around those kind of spots. You just learn that as time goes on, and then you kind of figure out where to hunt your dog out according to that, and set them up for success. Just like anything else, you're going to be better and better and better the more opportunities you have to be successful, So, yeah, I like them fox squirrels, man. And I like to hunt them all different kind of ways. I like to road hunt them. I like to drop hunt them. I like to cast. I like to walk hunt them. It's just all in what's going on that day,
Yeah.
How'd that dog of yours hunt? That one you won the state hunt with?
That hoss dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of made it a point to kind of train him more towards, which he naturally wanted to be that way anyways. He was the kind of dog that I think when he was about 4 or 5 months old, you'd take him for a walk out in the woods and be flipping rocks, looking around for an arrowhead on a creek bank, and
he'd get missing.
Turn around and be like, "Whoa, where'd he go?" And look at the Garmin, he'd be 800-900 yards off.
Right.
And in short order.
Right.
And I kind of reeled him in. That's a little farther than I want a squirrel dog to go.
No doubt.
Really.
I don't feel like you have to go that far, and it's all in what's going on, but man, dang, 900 yards, that's a long way. Like I was just saying, like this little young dog I got, I about know on my little farm over here where she's going to have a real good chance of running into a squirrel at. She shouldn't have to go 500 yards to do that. Even though there's not a feeder there. I mean, I've lived there. Generations of my family have lived there. I was raised up there. I can tell you where I see a squirrel at every afternoon. I could get within a couple hundred yards of that place, or where they're feeding at, or in the little grove or whatever. 900 yards is a long way. It's not something I want to walk. I mean, I would like to think that my dog could do it and tree a squirrel if needed to go that far. But I'm like you, I ain't trying to go that far.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
I don't feel like they ought to have to.
Yeah, that hoss dog was a tree dog though. He when he locked down on one, you could if he barked once, you could pretty well call him treed.
See, messed up, man. And I'm learning it all the time. It's a lot I don't know. I mean, this little dog here, she got to where she was barking in the kennel real bad. So I said, and she's already treeing squirrels now and doing real good. I mean, it goes, a couple hundred yards of tree and locked down. I mean, she was doing that last year. Well, I don't know why I got it on my mind. I was going to put a bark collar on her, Well, I did that, and she learned that bark collar. She would not bark when she had it on. Well, I've probably hunted her 6 or 8 times since then, and she's just now got to the place where she'll bark with that Garmin collar on. And I made my mind up. I was like, I'll never put that back on her ever again, because it scared me so bad that I've set her back. I was like, why in the world? And it took me a minute. I was like, that dog, I'm looking on the Garmin. I'm like, she's 279 yards. She blew off in there. And she's got a big winded nose on her. Is one of the first things I noticed about her as a little bitty pup. Well, like I said, 2 years old, be going down the path. You'll see her throw her head up in there. She'll blow off in there 200 yards. She sit down and she'll go, bark 2 times like she's scared it's going to shock her. And then she'll sit there so long, the 2 minutes would have caught her. I'm like, what the world's going on? And then she'll bark a little bit again, and not move. You still have to go in there to her. She'll be treed, but it's like she's scared to bark. She don't want to bark. I said, well, yeah, I think I learned my lesson on that. I'd rather just try to keep her from barking at the house or in the kennel in a different way than a correction collar. Mm-hmm. Because some of these dogs are too smart for their own good. They're thinking into it a little bit too deep, I think. They feel those leads on their neck, and they can't differentiate between the one at the house that got them and the one in the woods that it's okay. And maybe they can as time goes on, but how much time do you got?
Right.
So.
Well.
Yeah.
It's I hate to cut you off, but we're already a little bit over on what my normal time is.
Right on.
But man, I sure appreciate you coming on and
yes,
giving us your time today.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. It's an honor. Thank you.
I think it'll make a good one. I think people like listening to it.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, everybody, take care and keep wearing out that boot leather. I just want to give everyone that's listening a sincere thank you. Getting this podcast going has been a project. I really hope you're enjoying it, and if you don't mind, give the show a good rating and review wherever you're listening to it at, or share it on your social media to help get some traction. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to your feedback.